Let me start by asking you a question. Of all the relationships in your life, which one is the most important? Now, I know that's a tough question, but think about it. Which relationship in your life is the most important? Which relationship has the biggest impact on your future? Is it your relationship with your friends, your family, your parents, your siblings? What about your teammates or classmates or your teachers? Is it a relationship with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, maybe your future spouse? What about your relationship with Jesus? Which relationship in your life is the most important? Now, this is a youth group video, so I know that you know the right answer is Jesus, and you're right. Jesus is the most important relationship you can have. He has the biggest impact on your future. Your relationship with Jesus literally determines whether you'll spend eternity in heaven or in hell. So your relationship with Jesus, it's true. That's the most important relationship. But what about after that? Outside of Jesus, which relationship is the most important in your life? Which one has the biggest impact on your future? Is it your friends? Is it your family? Is it the people at school? Is it your spouse one day? Which relationship is the most important? Now, we're in the middle of a series called Who's in Your Corner? And we're talking about the impact of relationships. We said last week when we talked about friendship that the people in your corner determine the direction of your future. The people in your corner determine the direction of your future. And last week, when we talked about the importance of friendship, we saw that the people you surround yourself with have a huge impact on where you go in the future. But this week, we're going to talk about family. Because I think that outside of your relationship with Jesus, your relationship with your family can have the biggest impact on the direction of your future. Think about it. Your family. Your relationship with your mom and dad sets the foundation for the rest of your life. You don't just inherit your genetics, your looks from your parents. For the most part, you inherit their mannerisms, their habits, their world view. Your family relationships set the foundation for your future. And for some of us, that's great news. Some of you come from really great family backgrounds. Your parents are still married, they have great jobs, they love Jesus, and they care about you deeply. Others of you, you come from blended families, or one of your parents is single, or maybe you live with your grandparents or an aunt or an uncle. For some of you, hearing that your family relationship sets the foundation for your future is exciting. That's good news. And for others of you, that's like a punch in the gut because your worst nightmare is to end up like your parents. For me, this idea has always been a double-edged sword. If you're like me, then your family, it isn't straightforward. There's a lot of good and a lot of bad. No family's perfect, and my family certainly isn't the exception. But when I think about my family setting the foundation for my future, I'm excited and terrified. You see, the men in my family have struggled with alcohol abuse for generations. And as I've gotten older and learned more about psychology and the science of addiction, I've learned that the genetic aspect of an addictive personality will always be part of who I am. I've learned that the reality is I'm more susceptible, more vulnerable to addiction, especially alcohol. And I've had to make choices. I've had to make intentional decisions to fight against this weakness in my life. And I know it's something I'll always be battling against. On the flip side of my family equation is that the men in my family have been pastors for generations. So many of the men in my family tree have committed their lives to sharing the good news of Jesus with the whole world, no matter the cost. You see, without the influence of my family, without the influence of the foundation they set for me, I'm not sure that I would be a full-time youth pastor committed to sharing the good news of Jesus with students. Again, your family relationships set the foundation for your future. For some of you, that's good news. For some of you, that's bad news. For me, it turns out it's both. But here's the best news. No matter where you're at with your family, no matter what you've inherited from them, we're all invited into the family of Jesus. The imagery of the church, the imagery of the people of God as a family has existed for thousands of years. From the people of Israel in ancient times to the early church until today, the picture of God's people as a family is front and center. So here's our truth, our big idea, our main point for this week. Your biological family sets the foundation for your future, but the family of Jesus can transform the direction of your future. We're all invited to join the family of Jesus. And when we make that leap of faith, it transforms the direction of our future. It transforms everything about our life. But it doesn't happen by magic. It doesn't happen instantly or overnight. Living in the family of Jesus transforms the direction of your future, but not like magic. And with the rest of our time, I want to get really practical. And I want to look at 5 ways the family of Jesus can practically transform the direction of your future. And I want you to think, as we talk about these 5 ways that we can be transformed by the family of Jesus, which one do you need most? And I hope we see, as we study the family of Jesus, the people of God, we'll learn that how we operate as a community of faith is supposed to be a reflection of a healthy biological family. So first is support. The first way the family of Jesus transforms your future is through support. In Galatians 6:2, we read this: carry each other's burdens and in this way fulfill the law of Christ. When you join the family of Jesus, you find a group of people to carry your burdens with you. They're ready to walk through the challenges of life with you. And the support you get from the family of Jesus is supposed to be a reflection of your biological family. Isn't it true that in a healthy family, the parents, the siblings, the aunts and uncles all join together to carry each other's burdens, to walk through life together, to encourage us to keep going? Second is study. The second way the family of Jesus transforms your future is study. And when I say study, I mean that being in a faith community gives us people we can look up to, people we can model our lives after, people we can study and learn how to live life well. Paul told the early Christians in the city of Corinth to imitate him as he imitated Jesus. When we observe someone else in the family of Jesus living their life out for the glory of God, it teaches us the best way to live. It teaches us how we should live our life when we study others who are doing it well. And isn't that same concept true in our biological families? We study our parents and we decide the things that we want to do like them and the things we don't want to do like them. We carry on Christmas traditions or holiday gatherings just like our parents. But then on the flip side, we say things like, when I have kids, I'll never do blank like my mom and dad did. We study the people around us to help us learn the best way to live. Third is sharpen. One of the Bible's most famous proverbs goes like this: as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. To sharpen iron, you have to use iron. And the same thing is true for people. It's especially true for the family of Jesus. If you want to be sharp, if you want to be honed, if you want to be dangerous to the enemy, then we need to be sharpened by other people. We need our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions questioned, challenged, and processed by people who love and care for us. We need to be in an environment where people hold us accountable and help us live our lives in pursuit of Jesus. To be sharpened, we need to be around people who love us, even if it's tough love. Number 4 is submit. In the family of Jesus, one of the most important things we can do to be transformed is submit. We need to learn to give up what we want, what we desire, what we prefer for the good of others. We learn to submit our lives to other people, but most importantly, we learn to submit our life to Jesus. In Luke 9:23, Jesus tells us this: whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me. Whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will save it. Each of us is asked to give up our way of living and submit to the authority of Jesus. And this is one of the most important things you and I can learn to do in the family of Jesus, to submit our lives to the authority of our King and Savior. We all need to realize that we aren't in charge, that we aren't the most important person in the room, that we aren't the main character in this story. Jesus is. He's the one we follow. He's the one we submit to, not the other way around. Fifth, and finally, stick it out. In the family of Jesus, we stick it out. We don't give up on each other. We don't stop being a family when we disagree or argue. We stick it out. We stay unified and together because Jesus is the glue that holds us together, not our agreement. In the world, if somebody says something you disagree with, you cancel them. If a teacher says something you don't agree with, you complain and get them fired. If a teammate is mean to you, then you quit or you get them kicked off the team. You see, we've forgotten how to disagree and stay together. In the family of Jesus, we persevere. We stick it out even when times are tough, even when we disagree, because Jesus is more important than our disagreement. Support, study, sharpen, submit, and stick it out. Each of these 5 things helps you and I, helps the family of Jesus transform and become something new, something better. So remember, your biological family, it sets the foundation for your future, but the family of Jesus can transform your future. And as we break into small groups, we're gonna talk about these 5 ideas, and I want you to answer the question, which of those 5 do you need to work on the most? I'm gonna turn it back over to Nick and Spencer. I hope you guys have a great small group, and I'll see you next week.